General Hospital spoilers reveal that Charlotte is returning to Port Charles, but she is not coming back as the same girl who left. The loss of Valentine has changed her, hardened her in ways that no one truly understands yet. While others mourn him, Charlotte sees beyond grief. She sees legacy, unfinished business, and the need to reclaim what rightfully belongs to her father. She refuses to let his name fade, refuses to let the empire he built fall into the wrong hands. And with that determination comes a dangerous mission, one that will shake Port Charles to its core. The moment she steps back into town, it becomes clear that Charlotte is not here to simply pick up the pieces. She is here to expand the empire Valentine left behind. His legacy, his power, his influence, it all still lingers, and she intends to claim it. But in doing so, she is setting into motion a storm that will drag everyone around her into the crossfire. Anna, still reeling from Valentine's death, finds herself pulled into Charlotte's dangerous game. She wants to protect her, to keep her from making the same mistakes that have cost so many before her. But Charlotte is not looking for protection, she is looking for power. And she is willing to do whatever it takes to honor her father's memory, even if it means stepping into the shadows he once walked. At the same time, Brennan, whose role in Port Charles has always been shrouded in secrecy, is beginning to feel the weight of Charlotte's moves. She is not acting recklessly, she is calculating, pushing forward with a force that makes her a threat to those who thought Valentine's influence had died with him. She is proving that the Cassadine bloodline does not break so easily, and Brennan, whether he likes it or not, is now part of the war she is waging. But as Charlotte expands her reach, a new threat emerges, one neither Anna nor Brennan saw coming. A direct attack, a calculated strike meant to send a message, shakes them both to the core. Charlotte, in her pursuit of Valentine's legacy, has set off a chain reaction that is spiraling out of control. And now, Anna and Brennan are caught in the middle of something far bigger than any of them expected. The war over Valentine's empire has begun, and Charlotte is not backing down. She is proving to everyone that she is her father's daughter, ruthless, strategic, and willing to take risks that could either elevate her or destroy everything he built. But as the battle intensifies, the question remains, is Charlotte ready for the consequences of the power she is trying to claim? Because once the war begins, there is no turning back. Charlotte is beginning to see the truth, or at least, the version of the truth she has built in her mind. As the dust settles after Valentine's tragic death, her grief has transformed into something far more dangerous, rage. In her eyes, the ones responsible for her father's downfall are not faceless enemies lurking in the shadows. No, they are standing right in front of her. Anna and Brennan. To Charlotte, their hands are stained with blood. Anna, the woman Valentine loved, the woman who should have protected him, failed him instead. And Brennan, his motives are still unclear, but Charlotte is convinced that he played a role in orchestrating the chain of events that led to Valentine's death. Whether or not they directly pulled the trigger doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that they let it happen. They were supposed to be his allies, and yet, Valentine is gone while they continue on as if nothing has changed. Charlotte cannot accept that. She will not accept that. But she is not reckless. No, she is her father's daughter, and she knows that true revenge is not loud, not impulsive. It is calculated. It is slow, meticulous, built upon carefully laid traps that ensnare the enemy before they even realize they are in danger. She does not strike immediately. Instead, she watches. She learns. She waits. Anna is grieving, and Charlotte knows it. She sees the way Anna carries the weight of Valentine's death, the way her pain lingers in every expression, in every heavy step she takes. But in Charlotte's mind, guilt is not enough. Suffering is not enough. Anna must feel the consequences. So, Charlotte begins to test her. It starts subtly, misplaced items, unnerving whispers, small incidents designed to make Anna question herself. Is she imagining things? Is she being followed? Is she losing control? Anna, so consumed by her grief, does not immediately notice the shift. At first, she dismisses the odd occurrences as coincidence or paranoia. But as the weeks go on, as the disturbances grow more precise, more intentional, she begins to sense something is wrong. The hunter is being hunted, and for the first time in a long time, Anna is the one being watched. Brennan, however, is not so easily fooled. He is a man who has survived too long in the shadows to ignore when the walls start closing in. Unlike Anna, he does not allow guilt to cloud his judgment. He knows someone is watching. He knows someone is playing a game with him. The question is, who? He begins his own counter-surveillance, trying to identify the source of the growing unease that follows him wherever he goes. But Charlotte is careful. She is precise. She learned from the best, and she is playing this game better than he anticipated. Brennan may suspect that something is happening, but he cannot prove it. Not yet. Charlotte is no longer the naive girl who once trusted the world around her. She has been hardened by loss, sharpened by betrayal. And now, she is crafting a plan that will ensure justice for her father. But this is not about killing, not yet. It is about dismantling, about breaking the people who failed Valentine before she delivers the final blow. She begins planting whispers in the right ears, nudging people toward doubts they had not considered before. Did Anna truly love Valentine, or was she using him? Was Brennan working toward his own agenda the entire time? She lets paranoia seep into their lives, watching as the tension grows, as they start to question themselves and each other. The cracks are beginning to show. Anna is losing sleep, haunted by a presence she cannot quite name. Brennan is becoming more aggressive, more desperate to regain control. And Charlotte? Charlotte is thriving. Every piece is moving exactly where she wants it to go. But the game is far from over. Because the deeper Charlotte dives into her quest for vengeance, the more dangerous she becomes, not just to Anna and Brennan, but to herself. Her obsession is consuming her, turning her into something she may not recognize once this is over. How far is she truly willing to go? Port Charles has no idea that a storm is brewing, that a girl who once simply wanted her father's love is now becoming something else entirely. And when the moment comes, when Charlotte finally makes her move, the town will be forced to reckon with the terrifying truth. Valentine may be gone, but his legacy of power, cunning, and vengeance lives on in his daughter. And she is just getting started. Charlotte is no longer content with playing this game alone. Her thirst for revenge, her obsession with setting things right in her father's name, is growing stronger with each passing day. But she knows that to truly make an impact, to make Anna and Brennan suffer the way she believes they deserve, she needs more than just her own cunning and determination. She needs allies. And that is where Danny and Rocco come in. Danny and Rocco, both with their own complicated ties to Port Charles's power players, have no idea what they are about to be pulled into. Charlotte, skilled in manipulation and persuasion, carefully begins planting the seeds. She doesn't come to them with anger or desperation, no, she plays it smart. She presents herself as someone who simply wants to fight back against the injustices that have unfolded around them. She paints a picture of a world where people like Anna and Brennan are the villains, where those in power decide who gets to live and who has to suffer. She fuels their own frustrations, their own questions about the adults in their lives, and slowly, she starts to pull them closer to her cause. At first, it seems harmless, small acts of defiance, pranks that feel more like teenage rebellion than anything else. But as Charlotte's plan deepens, so does their involvement. What began as small disruptions quickly escalate into something far more dangerous. She convinces them that they are doing the right thing, that they are standing up against forces bigger than themselves. And Danny, with the weight of his family's legacy on his shoulders, and Rocco, with his growing need to carve out his own identity, begin to follow her lead without realizing just how deep they are getting. The pressure starts mounting. The risks become greater. And before long, what once seemed like a series of harmless stunts has transformed into something much darker. Charlotte is no longer just testing the limits of Anna and Brennan, she is actively working against them, setting traps that could have very real consequences. And now, Danny and Rocco are standing at her side, whether they fully understand it or not. The town begins to take notice. Anna starts to suspect that something is happening, that an unseen force is pushing against her from the shadows. Brennan, ever the strategist, starts tightening his grip, trying to root out the source of the growing chaos. But neither of them realizes just how close to home the danger truly is. They underestimate Charlotte, dismissing her as a grieving daughter acting out in pain. They don't yet see the web she is weaving, the power she is beginning to accumulate. And as the situation spirals further out of control, the question becomes: how far is Charlotte willing to go? Because once she crosses the final line, there will be no turning back. And if Danny and Rocco are still standing by her side when that happens, they may find themselves caught in a storm they are not prepared to weather. The explosion is coming, and when it does, the fallout will shake Port Charles to its core. Anna and Brennan's past is about to come back to haunt them in a way they never anticipated. Secrets long buried are about to be unearthed, and the dark truth about their past actions will finally be revealed for all to see. What begins as whispers in the shadows quickly grows into something far more dangerous, an all-out exposure of their most hidden sins. And as the truth spreads, the consequences will be devastating, not just for them but for everyone connected to them. For years, Anna has worked tirelessly to protect the life she has built, to bury the choices she made when she walked the fine line between justice and moral compromise. But no secret stays hidden forever. The revelations coming to light threaten to shatter her reputation, to destroy the trust she has fought so hard to regain. Worse, these secrets put her in direct opposition to the people she once considered allies. She is no longer just an agent of justice, she is now a woman on the verge of being exposed as something far more complicated, far more dangerous. Brennan, on the other hand, has always been shrouded in mystery, operating from the shadows where power and deception reign supreme. He has survived by being 3 steps ahead, by controlling the narrative before it controls him. But even he is not immune to the truth. His past is filled with betrayals, ruthless decisions, and alliances that have left destruction in their wake. And now, with his name being dragged into the light, he is being forced into a battle he never expected to fight. The storm that is brewing is not natural, it is engineered. And at the center of it all is Charlotte. Her thirst for vengeance, her need to make Anna and Brennan pay for what happened to Valentine, has driven her to take drastic measures. She is no longer just playing mind games, she is setting traps, pulling strings, and forcing the truth to come to light in the most destructive way possible. Her actions are reckless, unhinged even, but she does not care. She has learned from the best, and she is using every lesson Valentine taught her to tear down the people she believes are responsible for his death. This is no longer just about justice, it is about punishment. And she will not stop until she sees them crumble. Anna and Brennan, desperate to regain control, are forced to adjust their strategy. They begin moving in ways they never have before, taking risks they once thought were beneath them. But the pressure is mounting, and their desperation is becoming more apparent. The walls are closing in, and the more they struggle, the more Charlotte's plan falls into place. And then, the explosion happens. Anna's darkest secrets, the choices she made in the name of duty, the sacrifices she thought she had buried, all of it is exposed in the worst possible way. Brennan, too, finds himself backed into a corner, his once impenetrable facade cracking under the weight of the revelations that refuse to be ignored. The fallout is immediate. Port Charles is left reeling. Allies turn into enemies. Trust is shattered. And Charlotte? She watches it all unfold with a sense of satisfaction. But what she doesn't realize is that she may have set off something even she cannot control. Because now, Anna and Brennan are no longer just trying to cover up the past. They are fighting to survive it. And when people like them are pushed into a corner, they do not simply back down. They fight back. The battle is just beginning, and the war for revenge, redemption, and ultimate power is about to reach a level of chaos that no one could have predicted. Port Charles will never be the same. Jason is stepping in to bring order to the growing chaos, but even he knows that this is a battle unlike any he has faced before. The situation in Port Charles is spiraling, and 2 young lives, Charlotte and Danny, are at the center of it all. Their reckless actions, fueled by vengeance, grief, and manipulation, have put them on a dangerous path. Jason has seen this kind of destruction before, but never involving those so young, so deeply tangled in a web of deceit that they cannot see the consequences of their own choices. Charlotte, driven by her relentless need to make Anna and Brennan suffer, has crossed too many lines to turn back. She has carefully pulled Danny into her mission, convincing him that they are fighting for something bigger than themselves. Jason can see it, the desperation in Danny's eyes, the confusion of a boy who is torn between the legacy of his family and the thrill of rebellion. Charlotte is using that confusion to her advantage, and Danny, whether he realizes it or not, is sinking deeper into her world of calculated revenge. Jason knows he cannot afford to let this continue. He has spent years protecting the people he loves, keeping them from getting caught in wars they do not belong in. And now, he sees Danny, his own blood, being dragged into a fight that he cannot win. Jason refuses to stand by and let Danny go down this road. He will stop him. He will pull him back, no matter what it takes. But stopping Charlotte is not so simple. She is not just acting out, she is executing a plan. A plan that she believes is justified, a plan that has been methodically set in motion. Jason knows that coming after her directly will only push her further into the darkness, so he chooses a different approach. He moves carefully, watching, waiting, learning her patterns. He does not want to crush her, he wants to contain her before she goes too far. But Charlotte is not easy to contain. She senses the shift, the way Jason is maneuvering, the way he is slowly pulling Danny away from her influence. And she does not like it. She sees Jason as an obstacle, someone who stands in the way of what she needs to do. And so, she changes tactics. If Jason wants to play a game of strategy, she will play it too. Meanwhile, Danny, caught in the middle, is beginning to question everything. He trusted Charlotte. He believed in the mission. But Jason's presence is shaking that belief. Jason is showing him another way, a way that does not involve destruction, a way that does not put him at risk. Danny has always looked up to Jason, and now, for the first time, he is torn between the two forces pulling at him, the allure of revenge and the promise of protection. But the situation is getting worse. Charlotte, feeling the pressure, begins escalating her actions, pushing the limits of what she can get away with. Jason, no longer able to wait, finally steps in, forcing a confrontation that will change everything. He does not yell, he does not threaten, he commands control, making it clear that this ends now. The battle between them is not just physical, it is a clash of willpower. Charlotte refuses to back down, refuses to accept that she has lost control. But Jason is relentless. He tells her in no uncertain terms that this is over, that she will not drag Danny any further into this mess, that he will not let her destroy herself in her pursuit of revenge. For the first time, Charlotte wavers. For the first time, someone has truly stood in her way, refusing to be manipulated, refusing to let her dictate the outcome. And for the first time, she does not know what to do. But this is not the end. Jason may have stopped Charlotte for now, but the fire inside her has not burned out, it has only been redirected. And as she watches Jason walk away with Danny, her mind is already working, already calculating her next move. Because if Jason thinks this is over, he is wrong. This is just the beginning.